Eric and I are going to do something we've never done on He May Be Watched. Now that we're doing the big giant omnibus show, we're going to tackle 2 movies. I made Eric watch something, but before that happened, Eric made me watch something.
It's a He Made Me Watch doubles.
Ooh, and we're not going to necessarily do this every week. We have 2 movies like this. We may some other weeks.
Yeah.
But like this format is letting us watch more stuff because we don't have to immediately make a video after it. But we did Monster Squad, and then we made a video, and then we lost the video. So today we're going to do both Monster Squad and Child's Play. We're going to start with Monster Squad. So this is the beginning of our Halloween themed He May Be Watches. We're going to try to do at least 2 more of these. Probably a couple other horror movies or otherwise, Halloween themed type, monster things, creepy things.
Monster Squad is not a horror movie.
Monster Squad is not really a horror movie. No, absolutely not. So I have to say, I watched this a couple of weeks ago, so I'm a little rusty on it.
And we already recorded a video, so we'll probably be a little bit briefer on this than we'll be about Child's Play.
Well, absolutely we will, yeah. But why don't you get us into this, and you can help jog my memory about the film,
So Monster Squad is about a couple of kids who discover that the classic Universal monsters, Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, Gilman, and the Mummy, have come to their town because their town is the location of a sacred amulet that keeps the balance of light and darkness in the world. And once every
100 years, for no reason.
I thought it was 70.
I forget.
Okay, once every...
I thought it was 100 years, but
insert number of years here.
Yeah.
Once every so many years, there is a point where you can use the amulet to open a portal to Limbo to cast the darkness into it, but also it's the one time where the amulet is vulnerable and evil can destroy it and darkness will take over the world.
And why is it like that? Because we need a story to happen. That's
Look, it's not a story about why it got made. That'd be weird and contrived.
It's not. It's true. Yeah, sure.
So
doesn't sound interesting at all.
This film is co-written by Shane Black. It's also co-written by Fred Decker, who's directed the film. And at some point, we're just gonna have watched all the Shane Black films. We have one more really good one left, and then,
good.
And then 2 of the lesser films. I don't know if you'll ever see Long Kiss Goodnight, but you've asked to watch Last Boy Scout because it's got Damon Wayans in it.
Yeah, and I love him. So,
but
such a treat to have him in a regular show again. It's really cool.
For me, Monster Squad is everything that I think of as Halloween, which I discovered in the previous video that we already shot.
Yeah.
You and I see Halloween very differently.
Yeah.
For me,
I'm not a Universal Monsters fan.
That's
I
true.
didn't grow up with this stuff.
But for me, Halloween's not about scary. It's about an atmosphere. It's about, I don't know, Halloween's more fun for me. It's monsters. It's the next film that I'm going to make you watch for it is going to be in black and white. And
cool.
That for me feels more Halloween-y. Like it's just, I don't know. For me, Halloween-y is old ideas, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think slasher for Halloween. I think monsters. And so for me, this is the quintessential Halloween movie. I like Hocus Pocus, guys, but this is a better movie. I know you don't. I like Hocus Pocus, guys. This is a better movie.
Nothing about that movie works.
And Doug Jones is in that movie.
I hate that movie.
I mean, I guess he's in Discovery
too.
too.
So much.
I like it. But I also grew up with it.
And I didn't. And everyone I know that loves that movie, I think everyone. I mean, I don't want to speak for. I'm just saying people I know that love that movie watched it when they were a kid. Like, I missed it and then had to sit through it at a Halloween party at some point. I mean, God, it's just so fake looking. Like,
it was a TV movie. To be fair, it was not a theatrical film.
I thought it was theatrically released.
No, as far as I'm aware, it's a TV film.
I'm gonna look that up. I'm pretty sure you're wrong about that.
But this should be the quintessential horror film that everyone watches with their family because it's great.
But it didn't get a VHS release.
This did not get a VHS release. There were some rights issues. Yes, there were some rights issues. So this wasn't readily available until it was released on DVD in, I believe, 05 or 06, which is when I discovered it. Separate from my Shane Black thing, I discovered this film and I discovered Shane Black separately and discovered, like, oh, this guy that I really like worked on this movie. But I love this movie. I think they write the kids like...
Yeah, Hocus Pocus was in the theater. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, I saw it on TV. I guess I just always assumed it was a TV movie.
$39 million total. But, I mean, it's a Disney movie. How many TV movies did Disney make?
A lot.
Did they make quite a few? Yeah, I guess so. Now you say that. Yeah.
They're still making them, I discovered.
Yeah.
They put out like 4 a year.
Okay, but how many are, like, as beloved as that? Like, TV movies, right?
Not a lot.
That doesn't happen.
But a couple of them. People love those, Halloween Town? People love those Halloween Town movies.
Okay.
and Wizards of Waverly Place, I think, is a bigger one.
Okay. That was a TV show.
Both those are after my time. I think it's a TV show that spins out a TV movie, but I'm not sure. Both of those things are after my time.
Wish.
But no, it's I think this is a really nice movie about kids, written like kids in a
absolutely.
really heightened, almost farcical world.
It keeps teetering on the edge of being something like Bill and Ted, but it's more grounded than that.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely doesn't take itself too seriously. I mean, obviously. Yeah, what I liked most about it was, let's see how much of this I can remember. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's really funny, certainly. I really like the scary German guy. And I like how he just turns out to be a really nice old man. And
time is running out for your last piece of pie.
Pie, yeah, that's one of the best bits of the movie. And the little girl is great.
Yes, she's fantastic.
So funny. And I really wished at the end of the movie that she had been offered a place finally in the treehouse. Because she kind of saves everybody, like she sort of deserves it. But yeah, you talk about how you know the kids actually act like kids, seem like kids in this. That's obviously a Shane Black staple. He's great at that, and that's what's weird about this movie is that it's such an unrealistic movie with these really realistic children. I like what it has to say about. Kids that are like outcasts and like find themselves anyway, and we had a lot of movies in right around this time that were doing that. This is another one of the, and again, this should be kind of a classic because it's right. I think it's right up there with any of those. That's not my kind of movie. It's not my bag really. But
neither of us like the Goonies.
Yeah, but I get the and again, another movie I didn't really grow up with.
I also
did not care for it. But I watched it at the time that a lot of my friends came to love it, and I just didn't really appreciate it. But I think this is that kind of thing where it's this like a group of riffraff outcast kids that try to find their place in the world, and one of the smartest things in it is how the kids are really into something that they think they're experts at, that they don't have the perspective to realize they don't know that much about. Like they're obsessed with monsters. They don't know anything about monsters.
Yeah.
And I can really relate to that. Like I feel like when I was a kid, there were things that just because I really liked, I thought I was an expert at.
You've always talked about how you told people you've seen every episode of Batman 66. And
I hadn't seen anything like all of them. Yeah. And they're like that with monsters. The monster test is ridiculous.
Yeah. I was like that with Dragon Ball Z. Like, I'd seen some of it, I'm like, I've seen every episode of Dragon Ball Z. I know it front and back.
Because anytime, when you're a kid anyway, that you, there's probably adults like this too, but anytime you're a kid and you are really into something that you don't know anybody else really that loves, or it's just you and like a circle of friends, it's really easy to not have any perspective and think you know everything there is to know, because to everybody else you do. People used to do, people that I knew that didn't like Star Trek just because I had such a passion for it when I was a kid would tell me how knowledgeable I was in Trek, and I knew I didn't know it that well. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, I thought that was really cool and like a surprising insight.
My favorite thing about this movie, aside from just that it's great and I love the Universal Monsters, and it's my favorite design for the Creature from Black Lagoon. I love it.
Which is funny because they didn't have the rights for it, and they just call it Creature.
Yeah,
the capital C,
yep.
Creature. What was it? Creature got my sandwich, or Creature got, what was it? Twinkie, yeah, that's right.
Creature took my Twinkie. That kid just keeps getting attacked by monsters for no reason. Not attacked, just nuisanced by, because he's also the kid who the mummy hides in his closet, and he's like, Mummy came into my house.
I just remembered my favorite thing the little girl does. Can I say that really quick?
Yeah.
Because I just remember that bit where it's just a little small bit, but it stuck with me all this time. There's a news anchor that comes on TV, and she goes up to the TV and she just points at it and goes, boring guy, boring guy, boring guy, boring guy. And I thought that was the best.
My favorite thing is that
she's got so much character.
In like 1987, or this is one of those films I think that was made and then shelved for a little bit and then released later, because I think it's made in 85, released in 87. But either way, 85 or 87.
Some of these kids have been through puberty in the interim.
She says she goes, no, we're at war with Vietnam. And they're like, what? She goes, it's in Rambo.
It's in Rambo. She's the best.
But my favorite thing about this movie,
and how great of a plot, not a plot twist, but of like a plot point at the end is it where it's like, wait, she's a virgin.
Yeah,
she
we
can
can
read
use
the
her.
jury. That's great.
Yeah.
That's such a good loophole.
Yep. And that girl's whole like it doesn't count. Like I've met girls like that. Like that's a really realistic like way to like are you a virgin? And then they're like yeah. And it's like well, but that this one time doesn't count. That feels really realistic to me in a way that I don't feel like we usually do in these kinds of movies. But my favorite thing in this film is the relationship between the main boy and his father. I think the father is wonderfully drawn. His mother less so. But
yeah, we don't have to get into that. But she's awful.
But I love his dad.
And I don't think she had to be. She's such a plot device. Anyway.
But I love his dad. I love the way he talks to his son. He never talks down to his son.
Yeah. That relationship is really cool. I could have used more of it.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's really good. I think the most touching scene in this movie is when he comes home from a hard day at work. He told his son earlier that he couldn't go see a movie at the drive-in with his friends because he had to stay and watch his little sister. When he comes home, the kid's sitting on their roof and is watching the drive-in through binoculars and has the radio tuned to the drive-in station so he can hear the audio and kind of see the movie. And he just sits on the roof with his kid and he brought McDonald's and they just sit there. It's a really nice scene.
It's touching and it's really nice, non-generic personal details
that
make these characters come alive and feel more like real people. In the middle of this just preposterous scenario. Do you think this is done on purpose? And like maybe these are going to be fighting words for you, but in my opinion, you've got a movie where your take on the Universal monsters is more or less kind of the obvious generic take, but your real regular characters are not generic.
No,
I think
that's
really cool.
No, that's totally fair.
I think that's maybe intentional.
This is just the
now I'm glad we had to
Universal
shoot
monsters.
this again because I did not make that point before. And
Yeah.
I think I'm onto something there. Maybe.
Yeah, I agree. They're just kind of the classic take on the Universal monsters. They're not trying to reinvent that. It's just like, wouldn't it be cool if some kids fought those guys? It's not a new take or like what if we did this with them? It's just here they are.
We should mention this is built on a massive set of
a lot of contrivances.
To get us there in the first place.
Yeah.
Like the mom that just happens to find the book that leads
It's
to...
written by Van Helsing, which creates a weird reality loop that I can't think about without unraveling my brain.
Yeah.
Because how would Van Helsing exist in a world where Bram Stoker's Dracula exists?
The guy that they think is creepy that they finally end up going to talk to just happens to be German and fluent in German, so he can read the German book to explain to them what's going on. It's just contrivance after contrivance.
But it's a really fun movie. I think it's scary enough that if you were 10, it might be a little scary.
You think so?
I think so.
Maybe that opening scene. That you didn't think needs to be there, but I do.
I think some of the werewolf stuff when he transforms is a little scary.
That's fair.
But I think this is a really good kind of family movie for Halloween. Not for younger kids, but I don't know. For me, this is
even 9 or 10. I think.
Yeah. For me, this is the essence of Halloween. This is what I think of when I come to Halloween. This is the feeling I like about Halloween.
It's really funny that your sensibilities tend to go a little bit darker than mine, and yet I want Halloween to be scarier than you. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, for me, Halloween's a fun monster time.
I mean, I like just, fun, moody things that aren't meant to be scary. Like, I like to watch, Nightmare Before Christmas at Halloween, and things like that. Like, it gets me in the mood and stuff. But, for me, when I was younger, around 8 or 9, nearly every Halloween was when I watched something I wasn't quite ready for. Like that's when I watched something that was just scary enough to give me nightmares but not scar me. You know what I mean? And like I've spent nearly every year trying to recapture that. Like that's my nostalgia.
That's
for
interesting. I'm gonna throw in just a real quick.
But if you're into dark stuff all the time, more dark things all the time,
which I am,
and dark stuff is more of like a novelty for you. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Real quick aside, just like small, tiny recommend, just in the middle of this, talking about the monsters.
Yeah.
I watched a Dracula film I had not seen before that stars Frank Langella as Dracula and Laurence Olivier as Van Helsing.
You told me about that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I think maybe the definitive Dracula film. I had never seen it before.
Never seen it.
It's Langella's Dracula is hands down far and away my favorite Dracula I've ever seen.
Wow.
It's the exact right amount of moody and scary and it's wonderful.
Well, and
seek it out.
That sounds like a massive missed opportunity if you never cast him. Like he's so obvious.
Yep.
How do you not do that?
Yep.
We forgot to mention my favorite line of the film.
Oh,
which is
yes,
right
we
at the very
did.
beginning.
Yes, we did.
Read or we're all gonna die.
It's good that we mentioned that because we got a logo for it for
I
a
love
t-shirt.
it so much. I got Danny, my logo guy, to make me a logo for it, and I'm gonna show it to you right now. There it is. And
look at that. Ooh,
we're gonna make that.
ah.
We're gonna make that. Watch, just forget.
Scary monster.
We forgot to put it in. Everybody's like, "What are you talking about?" Just imagine Reader. No, it's there. Anyway,
if you like Hocus Pocus, you've never seen Monster Squad, give Monster Squad a viewing because it's better. Also, if you like the Goonies and you've never seen Monster Squad, watch Monster Squad because it's better. It was made first. And it's got the Universal Monsters, which already makes it better, but I think it's a better movie in general.
Kind of the classic definition of a cult classic in that classic. That was dumb. But like more dictionary definition, right?
Yeah,
Where it's a movie a lot of people don't know about, but I'm sure the people that do, it's got a following.
And part of that is because it wasn't available for a decade.
You go to a lot of movies like that. Like
I just find things like that. I don't know.
Buckaroo Banzai was like that too.
Buckaroo Banzai is like that. And so is Heavy Metal. Heavy Metal was not on VHS for the longest time because of the music rights.
Right.
And I love Heavy Metal.
It's
not a great movie, but I love Heavy Metal.
There's a lot of pioneering of animation going on in that movie.
Yeah.
It's a very important film, regardless.
Yeah, I like movies that feel like they're the inside of a 12-year-old's brain, a 12-year-old boy's brain just splayed out. Like I have a lot of respect for those. Like this is what you would make if you were given unlimited budget and you were 12.
Yeah.
And that's what that is. It's not good, but I respect it. Conker's Rake is like that, but a little less raunchy.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, yeah, this is exactly the movie that Vin Diesel wanted to make when he was 12 years old.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. It's not
good.
exactly my kind of movie, but I'm glad I watched it. I would not watch it. I mean, I would watch it again. So, okay.
Every Halloween.
Now we're gonna move on. I mean, look, I know that's your ritual. I'm happy to fall asleep on the couch.
I watch this at least once a year, if not like 2 or 3 times a year. It's a real go-to, just like I throw it on in the background kind of a movie. I just rotate through Shane Black movies.
It's very much your personality, your character. But I'm developing a real appreciation and understanding for Shane Black. So I don't think I would have liked this as much if I wasn't already familiar with his writing, though.
That's fair. And there's inklings of it. It's not full Shane. This is not as tight or as witty as his solo stuff is.
No, and it kind of feels like he's held back a little bit. Maybe it's a little bit reserved because it's more for like a family audience. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
It's hard to say.
It's a Fred Deckard project. He came to Shane Black because they were college writing buddies. Shane Black's big into the writing circle thing. You should have friends that are also writers.
So if he conceptualized this, it would have been different.
Yeah. He apparently Fred Deckard came to him and was like, "What if we did the Goonies meet, or not the Goonies, Little Rascals meet the Universal Monsters?" He's like, "Yeah, that sounds fun." And then Fred Deckard is co-writing The Predator with Shane Black next year. So we'll see how that turns out.
That's really cool. Hopefully, that's really cool.
Yeah,
we'll see what that's like.
We'll see.
Reuniting. Those guys. So I made Eric watch a Halloween movie, and a movie that I knew this was going to be a risk because I haven't seen this in a really long time. I'm like, I keep saying these things. It's probably been 20 years. This was the first horror film I remember seeing that was like way before I was ready for it. Like I was too young to watch it. I should not have watched this film. And but I don't know why. It always
my
stuck
first
with
movie
me.
is like that is Blade.
I was liked it. And I think it's so we're gonna talk about Child's Play. I always liked this because I felt like I could put myself in the kid's shoes, and I like being scared.
That says something about you.
Yeah, well, and I don't mean that I related to the kid and that the kid's relatable, because there's no kid like this on the planet. We'll talk about it. But the Chucky doll is based very clearly on a line of dolls that I had one of that I liked a lot. When I was little, called My Buddy. These are good guy dolls. This thing was called My Buddy, and there was a variety of them. Were like 2 or 3 different ones. With Chucky, it's just one. With the good guy doll, it's one. But then they all have a different name. And I don't know if it's like you're supposed to be able to name them or if they come.
No, they seem to be pre-programmed with their own person.
Which is kind of cool idea.
Which means they probably got like 7 that they just rotate through.
In '86 or whenever this came out, that's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah.
I forget what year this is. It's right around there. And then they rushed the sequels out, real hard. But anyway, part of the reason I picked this was because I was surprised that Eric hadn't seen it. First of all, it's I don't want to call this like a real classic horror movie, but it's one that like I guess it's in like the second tier of classic horror movies. If that makes any sense. Like it's not Halloween level, but it's like it's not.
I have
13th,
seen parts of Bride and Seed through various.
That's weird.
Things.
Yeah.
Like it was on TV, or like another kid was watching. I know I saw a good chunk of the beginning of Bride.
Part of the other reason I haven't seen that one, but part of the reason I wanted to make sure and do this year is because we got another one this year, Curse of Chucky, which I went ahead and watched, and I mean, it's just insane. It's absolutely crazy, and it ends on a cliffhanger, which I thought was really odd and surprising. It jumps the shark really hard, but then I had forgotten that we started in such an extremely outlandish place in the first place. One question you and I kept having as we were watching this, and this was in some ways like watching this for the first time. I mean, obviously, I had seen this before, but it's been years, and I had a very different viewing experience with this. I don't know if this is a comedy or not. I cannot begin to tell you.
Yeah, that was our big question is, does this...
I didn't mean to steal your thunder, but we both had that thought.
Because I've always understood Child's Play as a series that started as a horror series, and then became a comedy horror series.
Yeah.
Is this a horror comedy?
I don't know, because like people don't act like people. Everybody's an idiot. They do that standard horror thing where some characters are stupid and horrible people, so that you'll be excited when they die. But they're not consistent with that. There are other characters that are just like fine human beings, maybe idiots, but like you didn't want to see them die, and then they die. Like, I don't know what it's doing half the time.
It feels really cut down. It feels like it's missing scenes.
Yeah. It's not a finished product.
No,
it's bizarre.
Watching this movie, it's really surprising.
It feels like there must have been a better script.
Yes.
Initially in the first place.
There might even be a better cut of this movie.
Yeah.
But it's really surprising to me that this is a film that has as many sequels as it has, because this feels like... there is an alternate universe where this is just like one of many like cheesy horror movies that, like, if you're a horror movie fan, you might have seen, like, oh, hey, have you seen Child's Play, the weird one with the doll? Like, I don't know how this became a big enough hit to get sequels, because I've seen a bunch of movies that are about this level of quality.
Yeah, it's two things, right? It's the premise, because
he's got that weird knife on the cover.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about. Oh, you stole that. I was gonna talk about that.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. We'll talk about the weird knife. I don't understand the weird knife. It's weird. There's I think it's two things. The reason it stuck around. You can't really think of other horror movies that predate this that are exactly this premise, and this ended up becoming like a big kind of like a stereotypical premise for horror things. Like, we keep doing this in TV shows and things after it. So I think some of it is the premise, and some of it is the execution of it on like visually. He's pretty good for the time. Like there's some really cool prosthetics at the end of it. This is all done with animatronics, and they still do it that way. By the way, they haven't gone CG at all. Like
That's
it's still animatronics, and the animatronics have gotten better. But it's I think a lot of it is just the look, the atmosphere of it. Like, obviously, this is the story doesn't matter to people, and I think it was made by a big enough house and big enough names that it was able to get in front of people, even if it's not really that good of a movie.
It feels like, I know you've never seen the show, but it feels like a Tales from the Crypt episode kind of stretched out. Mm-hmm. But in Tales from the Crypt, I know that is an insanely
I'm not saying this
reality.
Is really the first thing to do this premise, but it's the first big movie to do this premise.
Yeah, and to do it and I'm convinced there is either an earlier draft of this film or of this script, or a longer cut of this film where it's some kind of consumerism satire. Because there's nothing here.
Yeah, and also, and also, I felt like there could have been some satire about modern parenting too,
which there should be, because she's a terrible mom,
not a great mom. Yeah.
But she's
not raising this kid right. Like at 6. He's acting real slow. Like he's really slow on the uptake even for his age, and they really think that kid equals stupid, or this child actor was really nervous. One of those two things, and I couldn't decide. Even
the dialogue, like, they wrote a 6-year-old like a 3-year-old, but then he does things that are more believable for a 6-year-old. We had this conversation about how, like, Jason is old enough that I could theoretically see him going on a bus, especially in the 80s. I mean, that's more believable in the 80s. I could see Jason going somewhere on his own. Freddy would not do that.
Yeah.
But the kid acts more like Freddy. Being your children, Jason, Freddy, not the characters. I know we're talking about horror movies.
We gotta be more distinctive about that when we're talking about horror movies. And anybody that doesn't know my kids, but Freddy's almost 3 and Jason's 7. Yes, my kids are named Jason and Freddy, and I'm not a big horror fan. I'm not going to explain it again right now. I'm just not going to do it.
but he acts way too young for how old he is, and I don't think that's supposed to be a commentary on her as a parent. It seems to be they either weren't able to write children well, or they've never been around a child before. They're just aware that they exist.
Isn't there a yeah? It knows kids exist. They're working with one. They know they exist. Don't you think there's a lot of potential for satire here? Like, couldn't this have been brilliant?
Yeah, this could have been a real brilliant consumerist piece, kind of a thing. And it's the 80s. It's the time for that. That's when we're making those movies.
It's really weird because I picked it, and I will at some point pick a couple of other things that I intentionally chose because they're not good. We did this with Star Trek V.
Yeah.
But
I'm still sitting on Dungeons & Dragons. One day we're gonna watch Dungeons & Dragons.
But that's not why I showed you this, and I'm disappointed watching it again. Like I showed you this for my own nostalgia. I am because it's a thing most people have seen. I'm surprised that you hadn't seen it. But I was really disappointed with this. But I don't feel bad that I showed it to you because it's entertaining in its way.
Here's the thing. If
you can't say there's not fun to be had here.
No, absolutely.
But sometimes at its own expense, certainly.
Yeah, here's the thing, is that it's... Again, if this was just like a weird, obscure horror movie, you would think of it as a good bad.
Yeah.
But because it's a franchise, it's almost like you're not supposed to think of it that way. It's not a horror classic, but like, it's in the horror canon somewhere.
Sure.
Maybe on the lower level, but it's in the horror canon.
No, I do
but when you go back to it, it's not like when you go back to Halloween or when you go back to Nightmare on Elm Street. This isn't very good.
It doesn't hold up.
But it is a good bad.
Yeah.
It's really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like it's like a half flip. Like critically rad.
Yes.
Watchability, great.
I'd watch it again. Or maybe you would watch it again.
Yeah. It's a fun watch. I recommend watching it with
2 because I think 2 is legitimately a much better movie. But that's also going off memory because it's been forever since. I mean, I had an almost like kind of Hush experience with this. Like, what was I thinking? You know. I don't know. It's just it's really disappointing because I think there was a lot here. I do think
they are more consistent about the rules than we thought they were for the first half of the movie.
We can talk about that in a second. I do think it knows it's a trashy movie.
You think so?
Yeah, like at the end of the day, like I think its initial script probably wasn't that way, but I think it was at least like maybe it was molded into a movie that is supposed to like tickle some kind of a trashier sensibility. Like I think it's supposed to be garbage.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, it's a good bad.
Like it could be good garbage, but I think it knows that it's not an intellectual film. It's you're supposed to relish the violence. Which you can argue whether or not that's okay with having a child protagonist being put in danger like this and stuff. But it's hard to really feel bad about that or feel anything about that because he's a cartoon character.
Does he ever get hurt, the kid?
In the movie?
Okay,
I don't believe so.
I didn't think so. No, they
tiptoe around that.
Yeah, they stay away from him.
I should mention he is still playing this character. He's still around. The kid in this, he's pushing 40 now, and he's in. I guess he's probably like a few years older than me. He's probably 4 or 5 years older than me. But he's in Curse, and he's in the one before it. Or no, I'm sorry.
He's in
Cult, and he's in Curse before it.
Okay.
Yeah. And he keeps Chucky's head in a box. It's great.
Well, no, this kid clearly has some major psychological issues after this film.
Yes.
Although he starts with some major psychological issues.
He seems
just
to,
not
doesn't
traumatic
he?
ones.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. We can talk about the rules, and we should talk about the knife.
Yes. So the rules are actually consistent. Like we were questioning things as it was going on.
They kept answering it for us.
Yeah, it does. That is a thing I will totally give this movie. I've seen a lot of movies like this that do not explain rules or have rules that do not make sense or they contradict and that kind of thing. They're consistent with the rules. There are solid rules. They don't give them all to you up front, but once you learn them, they do make sense.
There's this magic spell, and it's able to make it so that Brad Dourif's character, Charles Lee Ray, can transfer...
Which is a really good serial killer name.
It sounds like a serial killer, yeah. So he can transfer his Katra into Chucky, and he just calls himself Chucky. It's not like that's his name already.
Yeah.
That would have been really contrived. I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yeah.
And the reason that he ends up with like real teeth and stuff, and he's got nerve endings and can be hurt, is because he's turning human.
The longer he stays in the body, the more human he becomes, and only the first person that he told his secret can he then move his Katra into that person's body,
right? Yeah.
Which happens to be a 6-year-old boy, which is really nice because you get to relive your whole life again. If
That's
you
true.
stop murdering people.
Yeah, and I guess the stakes there are good if you cared about this
Yeah,
kid, you know?
yeah.
Like, it's not just he might get killed, it's that he might get possessed by this guy. Like, that's, like, I like that.
While the rules make sense, there are some things where it's like...
You're right, it was kind of fun. Sorry, it was kind of fun that the serial killer was like, oh, I gotta be a kid again.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta relive my life all over again.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of neat that he was actually excited about that.
Because that makes
Not
sense.
that there's anything to that guy, but...
While the rules make sense, we do have a lot of things that are done... Like, it's a movie that's aware it's a movie, and, like... The kids' motivations make no sense.
Yeah.
And then they make even less sense because Chucky keeps telling this kid to do things. And the kid keeps doing it. He's not scared. He's not whining. He's just doing it like...
And that doesn't last nearly long
Almost
enough.
like
it feels
it's...
like we jump real far ahead.
Yeah, yeah. It's the next day. He starts... Like, Chucky convinces him to go on a bus and go to this place. And he's like... It's
so
like,
that he can kill his ex-partner.
It's like a... Who is not established before that.
Oh.
I mean, he might be mentioned in the news report, but, like, that character doesn't exist.
You'd think you would put him in that first scene. You'd think like maybe
You'd think
like
he'd
they
screw
would
him
break
over.
in and then he would run away and then he would have a reason to want revenge
Yeah,
on him.
yeah.
Or did that happen and we missed it? I don't think that
Or
happened.
maybe we forgot about it. I don't think
Yeah,
it happened.
I don't think it happened.
But so Chucky's telling this kid, and it's like the kid with the imaginary friend, right? Like, my friend's telling me to do this stuff, except he's really telling him to do things, and it's fine. And then when the kid goes to the police station...
And he's whispering to him so it'll be a reveal when he finally starts talking.
Yeah, which only
I don't
makes
know if
sense
that's-
in public.
And honestly, I don't know if that's played as a big enough reveal. Like when it finally happens, it seems like it's just... And now it's happening? Like,
No, it's a reveal because it's when he yells at the mom.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
When he turns his head,
it's a
you
reveal.
think that was played okay?
Yeah, no, I think that was played fine. But he...
And let me reiterate, it looks good.
It does.
Like
It looks
when he starts talking, it looks good.
I mean, we are like 5 years past Yoda, like, and everything Jim Henson. So like, I don't want to be too impressed, but it does look good even for whatever its budget was, because I can't imagine it had a high budget.
That's true, but this is somewhere in between Yoda and Ninja Turtles. I mean, like this is a little bit harder of a job. You gotta make him like run around and stuff. Yoda's just sat on a stump.
That's
like,
true. But then when the kid goes to the police department, he's like, I can't tell you because Chucky says he's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
He is not acting like this doll has threatened him up until this point. Which makes me think he only threatened him about telling anyone that he can talk. But he...
And so it's hard to believe that he would go and do it and not question it?
Yeah.
Even at 6? Like,
yeah.
I don't want to question kid logic too much, but I don't feel like they don't have a established logic. Like,
Yeah. So, it's...
Because when he goes into that house, he's like, Chucky, stay here, like he's in charge.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It doesn't... It's not great, but it's fun. I recommend watching it with other people. I would not recommend watching this
It's a
by
good
yourself.
party movie.
Yeah. I don't know if it knows it's bad or not, though. That's my big thing. Is I don't know if it knows it's funny.
I do think it's being trashy on purpose. That might have been an 11th hour decision,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm with you. I don't know if it's aware of how little sense the kid makes and
or any of the characters. The woman falling through the window.
The way she dies is preposterous.
It's ridiculous.
And like it's funny, but I don't know if it's anyway. So yeah, it's weird. I'm gonna flip the sign this way, but I don't like that. Like, I mean, I know I don't usually flip the sign in my own movie, but I haven't seen this forever, so I'm gonna, I'm gonna indulge myself and be like, I don't know, I actually think my own pick. I'm gonna say not feeling it,
but that's okay. I mean,
but I still kind of like this. It's just I'm disappointed it's not what. Now you have to admit, Catherine Hicks is fine.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with her performance. The guy who plays Prince Humperdinck and Jerry the Vampire,
He is over the top.
he's, yeah. But it's like he alternates, where like he's way too reserved and he's way too big, and those are his two levels.
So are you gonna stand by critical entertainment?
Yeah,
Is that because I think I'm doing the same thing?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Critically, this movie doesn't work at all. But if you completely turn your brain off or are making fun of it, like it's a good movie to watch with friends.
What is with this knife?
It comes out of nowhere. It seems like it's a toy knife, and it looks like a toy knife, but then it just seems like it's a bad prop because he's cutting people with. I don't know what's up with that knife. And they're treating it like it's like his signature weapon on that cover. Is that like a recurring thing?
Yeah, and there's no way the light would glisten off it like that. It's
Wow.
it's plastic, but like even the cover doesn't know what that knife is made of.
That's
It's a
true.
problem in the film.
true.
I don't
That's
understand that. And he's got like regular looking knives all the way through it. Anyway, Well, that was fun. Well, next week we will watch one or maybe two movies and do some more He Made Me Watch. And so thanks for watching, folks, if you're watching just the He Made Me Watch video. And for everybody else, we're going to continue on with our next segment.